please share this show today with your family and your friends. Those who have lost loved ones from suicide, overdose, mental illness, stress, depression. Please, share this. I think you all will be blessed with this story today. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. You know what? I think we met each other on TikTok, right?
Yes.
I met a lot of people, and so we met TikTok, and we talked a little bit afterwards. And I really wanted you to be able to share your story and
Appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome, and about your book. First, let's begin with introducing who you are and tell a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into the story of your brother and the book.
Great. So my name is Janina Told.
Okay, all right. Now, so now that you've introduced yourself, let's talk a little bit about your brother before going to the book that you wrote, so we can let people know what are we talking about. So go ahead and share a little bit about your brother. I know we're talking about mental illness.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about your brother.
So my brother, he was like the best brother in the world. He was a good student in high school growing up. Excelled at everything he did. Later on in life, he became a bodybuilder, and he helped people with supplements and with their diet plans in the gym as well. And he excelled at that very much. I always thought he was like nobody, he couldn't get hurt at all because he always acted like older than me, right? So, and he was my only brother, so he played that role very well. I don't know what happened later on in life. Everybody gets, we deal with things ourselves within ourselves, with demons, and he held it in very quietly. And we were very close. I mean, we were inseparable. We talked all the time. Nothing that I seen that was worth butting in his life in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so I think well, what I deal with a lot within myself is a week before he passed away, he had texted me, and at the time I was going through my own issues. I just had gotten into a car accident. I was up north with a friend, and I told him, I'll catch up with you in the weekend. I mean, he's like, no, I need to talk to you now. I'll go pick you up. And I said, no, it's okay. I'll catch up with you in the weekend. But that weekend never came. So that's something that I struggle with as a person, as a sister. It took me a long time to deal with that pain. And I think writing this book has been a good therapy for me. And I still deal with it, but I know how to deal with it a little better, if that makes sense. And I seek help when I need help. I talk, it's either to my best friend, to a sister, to my mom, to anyone that I'm close to in order to get that pain out. Because you need to be able to speak on it.
I agree. Quick question.
Yes.
So you talked about the week leading up to your brother's passing.
Yes.
Most people say that I've interviewed or talked to, they was like, I didn't see any sign. I wanted to talk, but we normally talk, like you're kind of saying.
Yeah.
And so some they didn't see the signs, but then I've spoken to several people that say, okay, they were acting a little different during that time. So you're saying that just the week leading up to him, because you mentioned how your brother was outgoing all the time, and that brings, you know what, and I'm going to the left over here a little bit, because it brings up when we say check on your strong family and friends, check on your people that are always supporting everybody else, that's always giving to everybody else. Somebody needs to check on them. And you just said brother was outgoing, he excelled in everything that he did. So this we kind of like knocked the wind out of you because he
I
seemed
don't
okay.
want to, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I don't want to say that he wasn't going through things, because he was. He was going through some issues which he shared with me.
Okay.
But I didn't think it was that deep in order for me to actually butt in, if that makes sense. You know, but towards the end, I felt like the text messages got a little bit more intensive, like intense. I guess he needed to talk to me that bad. I mean, I always say to myself, how about if I would have just met with him? You know what I mean?
Right.
Would have, should have. We all do that to ourselves, and that's something that I struggle with. So that's why I'm a firm believer that if you need to talk to someone, reach out to someone. That's just point blank. The way that I deal with my emotions now is writing this book. I mean, I read it all the time, over and over if I have to, because it's like, that's the way that I deal with my grief. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. I have it here just in case. I know you don't have it. I forgot to send it to you, but I want to send it to you. If you just give me your PO box.
That's okay. I do want to read it. I did share the cover of the book, and I guess that leads us to yes, and I want to support you. And so that leads us into, you've kind of talked a little bit about what kind of led you into the book,
Right?
But about the book, did you feel healing as you were writing the book about your brother?
You know, at the time when he did, up to the point where he did pass away, I was going through my own situations. I was going through a divorce from my first husband, my daughter's father, and it was a very dark time in my life at that point. So all that played in while we were already separated. He passes away. And it was just 2 years prior that my father had passed away. So everything came at once. So in the process of trying to be strong for my daughter, who was already an adult, you know, but we tend to hover over our children, right? More their feelings. It wasn't easy. I could tell you that. It wasn't easy. I was like a walking zombie, honestly. I would go to work, come back home, and go to work. That's all I did. Barely went out. Yeah. I mean, I think through the process, I had a best friend. Well, I have a best friend, right? More than 25 years. But she pretty much helped me through the whole process. She was there for me, and you know, I appreciate her because she has her own children, you know, little kids. It was just that one phone call that made the difference for me. So I feel like that probably would have made a difference to my brother. And I wish he knew that I was strong enough to hold his pain as well. So everything I've been through in my life has molded me into the person I am today. And I do have the strength to, you know, help someone else if I could.
Okay, so what, as the listeners and viewers that are watching right now, what do we expect to see in the book? What is actually in the book?
So, yeah, so the book is very short. It's only 31 pages. I didn't want to go into a big, long depth of the scenarios of my brother. So the book starts from when he was young, different scenarios as he was getting older. I see a person, I'm sorry. I don't mean to see the comments. Up to when he passed away, and everything that led to that point. Reaching out to someone, he did reach out to someone. He tried to reach out to me, and you know, in a way, I feel like I failed him. even though it wasn't my intention to do that, but that's how I feel. You know what I mean? He
Right.
was my brother. I mean, I would have done anything to be there at that point when he needed me. So, you know, that's what they can get out of the book.
Okay. And so with you saying, and I think I've heard you say this more than
Yeah.
once, you kind of like it's your, if I only took that phone call.
Yeah.
So I want to ask this
Mhm.
question. You're not, right? I think you've written the book,
Yes.
but are you still holding this on and carrying this, in you day by day, or are you learning how to deal with it and say, it was not my fault. This was a choice that your brother made,
Right.
even though you didn't answer the phone call,
Mhm.
because everybody,
Right.
he made the decision. So are you kind of collectively, like as time goes on, and say, because you're right, some people say,
Mhm.
I just had her fiance had committed suicide. And she felt like, oh, if only I had went downstairs, and if only I had, most of the time, made their mind up what they're going to do.
Mhm.
They just have to kind of say their last goodbyes from what, I've been told. So I just wanted to ask you that. I know you mentioned that a couple of times.
I do, and I tend to notice when I do mention it. I think healing is a process, right? I'm still healing from it. I think I will deal with this for the rest of my life. He was my brother, but I'm learning as I go along to talk about it. If I'm here, I'll talk to my husband about it. If I call my friend, I'll talk to her about it. I'll talk to my daughter about it. That's the way that I'm healing. And if I don't speak about it, then I'm gonna be holding all that inside, and that wouldn't be too good for me.
Yeah.
Or for anyone.
I right. Right, and I agree with you on that. I just wanted to know, because I know that you mentioned it, and so I wanted to hear from you. How do you do it? How do you, and part of it is sometimes you have to talk about it,
Right.
and you have to share it, and you have to say how you feel, because a lot of people, they keep it aside. They don't talk to anybody, anything. They feel pain, either angry or just confused about life, and they don't talk. So I agree with you. I think talking is very important, but one of the other things is important is we, as people, sometimes we are so busy, so, and I've learned so much recently with me interviewing a lot of cancer patients, and just currently that passed away recently, that life is, to me, you just never know when it's your time. Life is short, and we have to take time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
We do be so busy, and I'm not saying that with you. You just said you got in a car accident, you was dealing with this or whatever, but sometimes, I think those of you that are watching me right now, you know what I'm talking about. You are so busy that you have family members that are trying to spend time with you, trying to talk with you, trying to share with you. And we're just so busy these days, So, from that.
Everybody has to work, and they're busy with their own families, but it just takes 1 minute to pick up that phone call, have that 5-minute conversation, tell them everything's going to be okay. There's a solution to every problem, I say, right? So it only takes that first 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes out of life. And you could save that one person.
I agree with you. And so, okay, so now we get to the book. If they would like to order your book, where do they go to order your book?
So they can go on Amazon.com, and you just put in, I could post a link, but you just have to put my name and it'll pop up.
Okay.
Or just put Through My Brother's Eyes and it'll pop up. But I'm gonna post a link on the live. So they could just click on it.
And then I'll share it on like the other posts that I've been sharing up to the show. I'll take that same link and put it up there for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Problem. So is there anything else you would like to share with those that are watching us right now in relation to mental illness, relationships with your family members? Anything you want to say?
I just want to say that if someone's going through something, reach out. There's so many sources out there that are willing to help. If you feel embarrassed, reaching out to a family member. Sometimes people live with their own siblings and don't talk about it. It's so sad. And you hear so much about suicide and right in the house. It's just really sad. Just reach out to someone. There's hotlines even nowadays for it. Yeah, just reach out to someone if you need help. It's so worth it. Your life is so worth it.
Yes, it is. And I agree with you. And also pay attention to change, because I just personally think that there is a change in a person.
Right.
Either they're drawn back from everybody, or they're just spent this. I just believe that there's they show signs.
Yes.
I just think that some,
Right.
you know, but I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, and sharing your story and about your book. And if there's anything else that I could do for you, please let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, and you have a good day.
Bye.